Another question that I get asked often is, what if I've been struggling for so long that I don't know what normal feels like? And you don't have to have some big dramatic breaking point. You don't have to have one thing, one event, one issue, one situation, one relationship that you can point to. If you are feeling off, kind of heavy, just like you're running on fumes and everyone else seems fine, which we talk about in my women's group is quite frequently not the case. Everyone else is feeling the same way too. That's typically because it's always been this way. You start to wonder if this is just who you are, but it's not. So, what you're describing is actually one of the most common things I hear from people that I work with. And it's one of the important reasons to get an evaluation from a therapist or psychiatric provider, not just because something is catastrophically wrong, but because you've lost your baseline. You don't know where baseline is for you anymore. And when you've been dysregulated for years, your nervous system just stops flagging it, stops acknowledging it. It just says, okay, this is just what we're doing now, guys. And it just becomes kind of like the water that you swim in. You adapt, you cope, you function, and you stop being able to imagine feeling any other way. A provider is not there to tell you that you're broken. They're there to help you find out what your system actually feels like when it has actual real support. And you deserve to know what that feels like. And you can't know that until you ask. Next question is, I'm scared my provider will judge my lifestyle choices. So, if you drink more than you should, you use things recreationally, you've made choices that you're not sure you really want to say out loud to a medical or psychiatric provider, that's okay. Now you're sitting there and you're wondering, do I have to tell them all of that? What if they judge me? What if it changes how they treat me? And here's the honest answer. Yes, you should tell them. And here's why it won't go the way that you're afraid that it's going to go. A good provider isn't your parent. We're not sitting across from you with like a checklist of good and bad things that you do, good and bad decisions, things we approve and disapprove of, right? We're sitting across from you trying to understand your full picture because that's the picture of what keeps you safe. So, alcohol can interfere with certain medications. Substances can definitely affect brain processes, medications, mood, sleep, and stress. What you put in your body, all of that matters clinically to us. When you withhold that information, you're not really protecting yourself. You're actually making it harder for us to help you without causing harm accidentally. When you share it, it's not a confession. You're not, confessing your sins, so to speak. You're just collaborating. You're having a conversation to talk about, hey, this is what my realistic day to day life looks like. And here's what I'm struggling with and feeling. And here's how I want to do better or feel better. Are any of these things contributing to that? And so, yes, we all know that things like cannabis and alcohol can contribute to mood and anxiety, but it's important to know that because there are certain medications that we don't want to combine with those substances that can be actually harmful to you. The best psychiatric care that I've ever been able to provide has always started with someone trusting me enough with the thing that they're most afraid to say out loud. And that's not a coincidence. That's just good collaboration. And I appreciate the transparency that they give. So hopefully that was helpful. Another question I get frequently is, what if I don't know how to answer my provider's questions? Not uncommon, don't worry. Sometimes when you get in the room and you're finally sitting in there and they ask something like, when did this start? And then your mind just goes blank. You're like, oh gosh, I don't know. It's been always been this way, or I can't remember when, or I don't know what happened. Again, there doesn't need to be some specific event. Even if you're not sure if what you're experiencing even counts, and then you get worried, you freeze, that happens quite frequently in the first appointment. It's not that uncommon. It has nothing to do with how smart you are or how real your struggles are. What's really going on is probably that you've been managing this alone for so long that you've never really had to put it into words before. And when someone asks you, it's kind of hard to put into words because it's just like, oh, this is just my normal day to day, right? That's not failure. That's just what happens when you've been your own support system for years on end. You don't need to have a perfect answer. You don't need to have a perfect timeline. You don't even have to walk in with a diagnosis in mind. If all you can say is, I don't know where to start, that's enough. That's enough to help us help you find the words to put to what you're experiencing and how you're feeling. And that's pretty much a complete answer. A good provider will take it from there. You don't have to perform wellness to get help. You just have to show up. So I hope that was helpful. Please like and subscribe and share with someone if you find that helpful.